Welcome and thank you for joining us today. Another Passport to Possibility video brought to you by JH Marlin, Attorneys at Law. I'm here with Jennifer and we're going to be discussing her time on the Cayman Islands.
Sounds good.
So Jennifer, jumping right in, you worked at a top law firm in the Cayman Islands. How did that opportunity come about for you?
Yeah, so I was working at a law firm in the Bahamas and they had a branch in the Cayman Islands, and I was attracted to working at a top law firm in Cayman. And Cayman has some of the best lawyers in the world and is known as a really great reputation in the Caribbean for the offshore world, and so that's what attracted me to Cayman Islands and led me to the Cayman Islands.
Yeah, excellent. Now, when you first touched down on the Cayman Islands, what were your first impressions of the place on the whole, be it work, life, lifestyle, any first impressions that you had?
Yeah, I was really impressed when I first arrived, especially 7 Mile Beach is absolutely stunning. Having the opportunity to live on 7 Mile Beach and walk the beach every day and meet different people from around the world. So my first impressions was that I was pretty impressed with how clean and polite and nice people were on island.
Well, you mentioned meeting people from around the world. I believe there's over 100 different individual nationalities there. Could you feel that global diversity present in the Cayman Islands?
Absolutely. Within the first week of arriving, I'd already met people from Australia, South Africa, the UK, Canada, a ton of different nationalities that were there, and it was just really exciting to learn more about people's culture and how long they'd been living in Cayman Islands and all about Cayman Islands lifestyle.
Yeah, cool. And turning back to your legal field specifically, what kind of work were you doing for this law firm that you worked for?
Yeah, so prior to going to Cayman, I worked in litigation, and while I was in Cayman, I worked in the investment funds industry in corporate law and corporate matters. And what I thought was really interesting is how Cayman Islands positions itself in international transactions, and just to be able to work amongst really top colleagues was a really great experience.
Now, you mentioned the way Cayman Island positions itself as an international hub. I believe there's something called the Cayman Enterprise City, a special economic zone. Could you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, so someone who does immigration, there's different ways that you can relocate to Cayman Islands, and one of them is through establishing a company through Cayman Special Economic Zone. It's one of the more cost-effective ways to relocate to Cayman. And what's attractive about Cayman is there's no personal income tax, there's no corporate tax. So it's a tax-friendly country, and by establishing a company through Cayman Special Economic Zone, you can have access to potentially Cayman Enterprise City, where you can have co-sharing office space, mailbox, and other incentives, and be with other leading entrepreneurs and blockchain companies, airline companies that have established their company through Cayman Special Economic Zone. Yeah,
great. So if I was someone who was looking to possibly relocate to the Cayman Islands, but I had no real desire to set up a company or corporation, are there any other avenues that I could explore?
Yeah, there are different avenues. Either you could get a job at a business, so you have an offer of employment, or what some people do is they do an investment for permanent residency, so a certificate of independent means, and it starts at approximately 2.4 million US and above, so it really does cater to high net worth individuals. There's also the availability at 1.2 million, but mostly all the investments for relocation, if you're not given specific employment, are over $1 million, apart from the establishing a company through Cayman Special Economic Zone, which gives you the right to work in Cayman with your company, and then as well relocate other employees through your company.
And is that time limited? Say you have the opportunity to move to Cayman on the basis of setting up a company, is there a time limit on that, or is it so long as the company is running and established?
So you'd have to renew it every year.
Okay.
So there's renewals involved, but yeah, you can maintain your company for the long term.
And that renewal process is quite straightforward and simple?
Yeah, so Cayman's very streamlined and efficient, and therefore it's quite easy to renew, and it's quite easy and efficient to establish your company to start off with as well. And
how did your time on Cayman Islands influence you, and did it provide any assistance in setting up your firm, JH Marlin Attorneys at Law?
Yeah, I think it really gave me international exposure to top law firms and lawyers and clients in Cayman Islands. In fact, the first client I ever had was one of my neighbors in Cayman, And I think it really gave me a good international perspective as well. I got to work directly with a small team, and just seeing how the boss managed the law firm gave me tools to be able to launch my own law firm and to see both the practical side of practicing law as well as the management side of managing a law firm.
Yeah, cool. Now, Cayman Islands sees strong growth year on year. I believe it's up to 3% already this year, be it financial, tourism or construction. Cayman Islands seems to be moving forward at a nice steady pace. Where do you envisage the islands in 10 years from now?
Yeah, I think it's going to continue to maintain its reputation as one of the top countries in the Caribbean for offshore. It does have a high number of banks, investment funds that are established there. So I think that there'll be continued investment through Cayman Islands entities, as well as further relocation and further development in the country. There's new and emerging hotels and developments and more housing opportunities as well for people on island.
So Jennifer, if someone was in a position to relocate to the Cayman Islands, could you possibly describe to them what a day-to-day life would be like?
Yeah, so what's great about Cayman and the day-to-day life is that there's lots of activities for kids and people of young ages, and there's a lot of international schooling opportunities. So the day-to-day life would depend if it's a work day or if it's the weekend, but you can jam-pack your schedule with lots of different activities from sporting to
7 Mile Beach as an example.
Yeah, 7 Mile Beach could be a great way. I personally lived on 7 Mile Beach. I highly recommend, especially if you're first relocating to Cayman, to consider 7 Mile Beach. It's just extraordinary to wake up and swim at the beach and walk along the beach and meet people as well if you're there.
So Jennifer, the day-to-day life sounds great, but what are perhaps some of the cons of living on Cayman Islands?
Yeah, so I'd say one of the biggest cons is probably the cost of living. It is one of the more expensive islands in the Caribbean, especially coming from Canada. If you want a small box of strawberries, it could be extremely expensive, or any sort of fresh fruit or produce. And the con is, depending if you like a small community or you don't like a small community, but sometimes the island gossip, if you're get drunk on a Saturday night and wake up somewhere where you're not supposed to, it gets around.
It gets some reputation about you, right?
But I can't really think of too many downsides, too many cons. Overall, the experience is really positive, and it's one of the islands that I do recommend a lot to clients, especially with families that want to have educational opportunities or opportunities for their kids. Cayman Islands is a really nice place to live.
Because the schools have got a great reputation. I've heard they're quite prestigious.
Schools have got a lot of great reputation, as well as companies invest in development. There's a lot of career opportunities as well. And so I think if you're considering everyone's perspective in the family, there's opportunities for everyone of all ages, and I think that that's something that's really attractive about Cayman.
Yeah, great. So if anyone is watching this video currently and they wanted to find out more information, how do they get a hold of you, Jennifer?
Yeah, so they can reach out via email at jennifer@jhmarlin.com or visit our website, and we do have articles on Cayman Islands and many other islands in the Caribbean and countries around the world at jhmarlin.com.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for shedding some light on your time on the Cayman Islands.
Sounds good.
Thank you.